Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 158 based on novel. So let's start. With the words in Xiaoyang's mouth falling, the people present immediately looked at each other and looked back and forth with puzzled eyes, but they didn't find anything. While everyone was suspicious, there was a burst of old laughter in the crowd. Hehe, Sir is really an extraordinary person. No wonder even the Lin family are unwilling to conflict with Sir easily. As the laughter fell and the crowd dispersed, a pudgy old man in a herbalist's robe came forward slowly and stood in front of Xiaoyang. If it weren't for the girl, they wouldn't leave so easily. Hearing what the pudgy old man said, Xiaoyang smiled non-committally. At the same time, his eyes also looked at the chest of the old man's medicine refining robe. Then, the look in Xiaoyang's eyes could not help but coagulate slightly. In front of the old man's chest, there was a herbalist badge with the shape of a medicine tripod. On the 9 lines of the badge, at this moment, there were 3 beads in the shape of pills, exquisitely carved on them, which also represented the identity of the latter, a third-order herbalist. When Xiaoyang looked back, the old man obviously noticed it. Even when he smiled at Xiaoyang, he arched his hand and said, "I'm solemn. I'm the president of the Herbalist Guild. I'm sorry I didn't stop it in time." At the end of the speech, the pudgy old man smiled and apologized to Xiaoyang. His smile was easygoing and didn't contain any other meaning. Ha ha. Xiaoyang stared at the pudgy old man opposite. The two looked at each other with tacit understanding. Xiaoyang can guess the reason why the latter doesn't do it. If the previous girl was not hated, I'm afraid the fat man wouldn't stand aside and watch jokes. When the surrounding pharmacists saw the pudgy old man, they quickly piled up a respectful smile on their faces. When the old man saw this, he also swept them one by one with a smile. Finally, he returned to Xiaoyang. It seems that Mr. is crowded in by the flow of people outside. Anyway, there is no place to go for the time being. Therefore, I want to invite Mr. to have a talk. I wonder if I can. From the moment Xiaoyang entered the medicine refining guild, solemnity has been noticed. Of course, Xiaoyang is no exception. Hearing the solemn words, Xiaoyang's eyelids were slightly low. Immediately, his eyes turned, smiled, and said, "Looking at the situation outside, it seems that we can't leave for a few hours." The old man smiled, stretched out his hand and made an invitation gesture to Xiaoyang, laughing. "Please." Xiaoyang was also impolite. He walked forward with a light step. Then the old man kept up and led the way for Xiaoyang. "I'm afraid it's the first time you come back to Shenzhen, sir." One tall, one short, one fat and one thin, the two walked side by side towards the depths of the Medicine Refining Association. On the way, the old man suddenly asked. Xiaoyang was non-committal. The latter took this as the default, smiled lightly, and then continued to speak. "For the fire plume flower?" This time, the expression on Xiaoyang's face couldn't help moving slightly. A light flashed from the bottom of his eyes, and then he recovered his peace. However, even so, it was also difficult to escape the eyes of the old man beside him. "Oh, sure enough." The old man smiled. His smile looked a little cunning, but Xiaoyang didn't think so. Does the president know about the fire plume flower? The flow of people around them has gradually disappeared. Without the interference of outsiders, the dialogue between them is naturally straightforward. When solemnly heard Xiaoyang's words, he shook his head helplessly and sighed. "No, fire plume flower is too precious. Its news has been completely blocked. No one will get any news until it's really time for auction." Hearing this, Xiaoyang couldn't help feeling disappointed. Unexpectedly, the news of Huolinghua was so strictly controlled that it was difficult to find it even in Shenzhen. Since there is no news, does no one doubt the authenticity of the fire plume flower? Apart from the name, there is no other valuable news, which anyone will doubt. Hehe, there should be no doubt about this. As far as I know, the power that runs the auction is a mysterious chamber of commerce. Although I don't know who they are, I've heard about their reputation. It's said that they haven't auctioned any defective products since they held the auction. This alone is enough to make people believe it's too late. The fat old man didn't hide the news that most people know. After all, with the identity of the third-order herbalist in front of him, it would be very simple if he really wanted to get the news. Hearing the old man's words, Xiaoyang's face couldn't help showing a look of surprise. He didn't expect that there would be such a mysterious force in the western regions. However, if it was really as solemn as he said, there should be no mistake in thinking about the news about Huolinghua. With this in mind, Xiaoyang secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Immediately, suddenly, they walked forward slightly. When they looked up, they noticed that they had appeared in front of a door. "Hehe, sir, please come in," solemnly took out a special jade card and opened the heavy stone door in front of him. Then he smiled at Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang smiled and nodded. Without hesitation, he entered the room in front of him. The light in the room is much darker than that in the outside world. There are no windows or lamps. There is nothing except a few old furniture, but I am poor. At the moment, the only thing that emits light is the top cover penetrating the floor in the middle of the room, and the raging fire light is reflected in the room through the vent on it. The top cover is the tripod cover of the huge medicine tripod Xiaoyang saw when he first entered the Medicine Refiner Guild. From the tripod cover, Xiaoyang and Solemnity are afraid to stand right above the medicine tripod. Their position is the highest place in the Medicine Refiner Guild. "Please sit down, sir," solemnly smiled at Xiaoyang and said. Xiaoyang nodded, and they sat down respectively. "Hehe, sir, you are really a young leader. You are so young that you have reached the level of a third-class herbalist. This really makes us old guys ashamed." After they sat down, the pudgy old man looked at Xiaoyang and couldn't help shaking his head and smiling bitterly. "I'm just relying on luck. Why should I belittle myself, senior? Hey, luck is not something everyone can have. Otherwise, those treasures on the mainland should have fallen into the hands of others long ago, and they won't be won by future generations. Moreover, even if you are lucky, in this continent, you focus on strength in everything. If you don't have strength, even if you are lucky, you will still be able to make a wedding dress for others in the end. It's said that if you want to wear a crown, you must inherit it, Mr. Chong. Not only are you lucky, but also your strength is not inferior." In the end, the old man's eyes flashed a light quickly. At the same time, there was a bit of admiration in his eyes when he looked at Xiaoyang. "Misty praise, elder." Xiaoyang threw his fist at the old man and said with a smile. When the latter saw this, he also laughed. Immediately, he didn't entangle too much on this topic. He immediately said, "Sir, do you know the identities of those two people just now?" In the old man's words, naturally they are Na Lin Ran and Shu Yao. Xiaoyang was slightly stunned. Then he shook his head, arched his hand to the old man and said, "I hope you can answer." He nodded solemnly, and then took a deep breath. Then he said, "Lin Ran is the youngest leader of the Lin family, the first family in Shenzhen. His identity is very. The Lin family is related to both the Hua family and the Bai family. Of course, it's just a master-servant relationship. In order to please these two families, the Lin family does not sacrifice less, so he can have his current position. It can be said that Shenzhen is the territory of his Lin family. Usually, it's even my herbalist association, I have to give in 3 points." Hearing that the Lin family had a relationship with the Huabai family, Xiaoyang couldn't help but frown slightly. However, it's useless to think more about it now. If it comes, it's easy to expose the previous things. Otherwise, Xiaoyang is not a persimmon that can be pinched by others. The bottom of his eyes flashed a sharp color, and Xiaoyang took back his mind. The old man in front of him also smiled lightly, and then continued to speak. "In addition, before talking about the girl, I want to ask Mr. Zhong, should Mr. Zhong be from the Alliance of Herbalists?" Solemnly staring at Xiaoyang in front of him, he has always wanted to ask this question. In his opinion, the third-order herbalist at such an age may only be cultivated by the Chinese side of the Herbalist Alliance. This is consistent with Lin Quan's conjecture. After all, this mysterious third-order herbalist is too young, no matter how they conjecture, can't help thinking about the Alchemist Alliance. However, the result of the fact is often contrary to the conclusion. Xiaoyang saw that the old man's eyes were staring at himself. His face was stunned, but then he smiled and shook his head. "I'm not a member of the Herbalist Alliance." As soon as Xiaoyang said this, the old man's eyelids trembled, and a look of surprise flashed across his face. He could not imagine that Xiaoyang would deny it. It's hard to imagine that a third-order herbalist at such an age is not a member of the Herbalist Alliance. The level of a herbalist is not only judged according to the strength of the soul, but also his attainments in medicine refining. There is only one way to cultivate medicine refining, that is, refining a large number of pills and learning experience in the process of refining pills, so as to improve his own medicine refining. Although the method is simple, I don't know how much money it will cost. Just the herbs needed to refine pills are astronomical. Ordinary forces can't supply them at all. Even some small and medium-sized families can't train such a young third-order herbalist. Looking at the whole western region, I'm afraid that the only thing that can really cultivate the power of third-order herbalists is the alliance of herbalists. As for the 4 major sects, although there are also third-order herbalists in the sect, those are old people with white temples. They have never heard of a young third-order herbalist like the person in front of them. Hee, don't worry, elder. I'm not from western regions. I don't have a foundation here or join any forces. While solemnly and suspiciously guessing the person in front of him, Xiaoyang smiled calmly and interrupted the latter's thoughts. At the same time, Xiaoyang also breathed a sigh in his heart. He really didn't dare to let the old man continue to guess. His identity as a third-order herbalist has long been spread in the outside world. Who knows if the old man would think of him? If his identity is exposed at that time, it's not a good thing for Xiaoyang. Hearing Xiaoyang's words, the old man was like waking up from a dream. He quickly regained his mind, smiled, and then continued to say, "Sir, the reason why I ask you if you are from the Alliance of Herbalists is actually intended to be 2 points. I won't say more about the first point. As for the second point, Xu Yarrow is from the Alliance of Herbalists." "She's from the Alliance of Herbalists?" Xiaoyang's eyes narrowed slightly, his eyebrows were light, and he couldn't help showing a look of surprise on his face. Although the girl had good talent, she was only a 9th-grade herbalist, not to mention her bad disposition. Why did she enter the Herbalist Alliance? In other words, her grandfather is a member of the Herbalist Alliance. Maybe it's more correct. Then followed by a solemn explanation. Hearing this, Xiaoyang knew it. No wonder the little girl behaved perversely. It turned out that there was a grandpa in the Alliance of Herbalists as a backer. If you put it in the past, his grandfather is really nothing. It's said that not long ago, the guy had good luck to break through to the 3rd-class herbalist, which made him prosperous. It was solemn and slow. There was a sense of disdain between her words. It was just breaking through the 3rd-order herbalist. Relying on the Herbalist Alliance behind her, she indulged the younger generation. Looking at the girl, her elders were not much better. It was Xiaoyang. At the moment when the words fell in his solemn mouth, the expression on his face changed slightly, his eyes narrowed falsely, and he felt thoughtful in his heart. The same surname is Xu. And he is a 3rd-order herbalist who broke through not long ago. Could it be him? The solemn words in Xiaoyang's mouth reminded him of a person. That was the 2nd-class herbalist he met in the 1000 Medicine Workshop when he went to Yangcheng for the first time. The latter once claimed that he was about to enter the 3rd-class herbalist. At that time, Xiaoyang also shot him because of Murong Qianqian's relationship, but he didn't think that now, it was a narrow road. Is the name of the person mentioned by your predecessors Xu Songming? Xiaoyang suddenly opened his mouth, stunned the solemn look in front of him, raised his eyebrows, and said in surprise, "Why, sir, do you recognize him?" Hearing the speech, Xiaoyang smiled, glanced a sharp color in his eyes, and said in a condensed voice, I don't only recognize it, but also have something to do with it. It's night. In Shenzhen, in a slightly remote inn, Xiaoyang is sitting on his bed with his eyes closed. With the rotation of his mind, there will be strands of complex energy emerging from the surrounding void and pouring into Xiaoyang's body along Xiaoyang's breath. During the solemn chat during the day, Xiaoyang learned about the influence of the Lin family and the origin of Xu Yao. For the Lin family, Xiaoyang took the attitude that people don't offend me and I don't offend. What happened during the day can only be regarded as that Lin rant's own fault. If you can, Xiaoyang really doesn't want to cause too much trouble. As for Xu Yao, Xiaoyang has never paid attention to her from the beginning. In the final analysis, she is just an unruly girl. Don't say that her grandfather is Xu Songming, who is another person. Xiaoyang is also not afraid of him. However, what makes Xiaoyang most regret is that he didn't get much valuable information about Huolinghua. As Solemn said, what he knew was also known by everyone in Shenzhen. After leaving the Medicine Refining Association, Xiaoyang also inquired about all parties in the city, but the final information was almost the same as Solemn said. In desperation, Xiaoyang had to go back to the inn and had nothing to go. It's better to practice at ease. Now, there is only 1 day left from the beginning of the auction. Instead of wasting those unnecessary time, Xiaoyang plans to have a good rest and remove the fatigue of hard driving for half a month, so as to connect with the next auction. Both families will send people to participate in this auction. In case of any accident, Xiaoyang has to be careful. Even if he has made great efforts to help the battle, it doesn't mean that Xiaoyang can really fight against the emperor and the strong. What's more, Shenzhen is the territory of the two families. If something happens, The other party will mobilize the speed of the strong, but it was much faster than his defeat. Therefore, Xiaoyang had to keep himself at the peak all the time. While Xiaoyang was practicing at ease, in a magnificent other garden in the city, at this moment, several figures were sitting in a hall. Among them, 3 men and 1 woman. Sitting above the first place was a middle-aged man, and the other 3 were sitting separately. The atmosphere on the court was a little dignified. Lin Ran, before my trip, I gave you Yao Yao and asked you to protect her. You answered me with righteous words at that time and would never hurt her at all. But now, my granddaughter was slapped hard. Is that your promise to me? In the hall, an old man in a brocade robe with white hair and beard was staring at Lin Ran, who was bending and sitting opposite. He looked sharp in his dark eyes. While his words were spitting out, a crutch in his hand also fell heavily on the ground in front of his feet. Suddenly, a strong force spread, and the ground in front of the old man's feet suddenly broke, the cracks like cobwebs spread rapidly. As the old man's words fell, beside the old man, a beautiful girl wrapped in a red skirt suddenly cried on the side of the square table. The appearance of this scene made the look on the old man's face more gloomy, and his anger was even worse in the old eyes staring at Lin Ran. Hearing the old man's angry rebuke, Lin Ran's face opposite was also iron blue. He bit his teeth hard and was unwilling. Shifu, I'm really sorry for what happened today. I blame that smelly boy. His strength is above me and he's not his opponent at all. You're not an opponent. Isn't Lin Quan his opponent? In my opinion, you just want to watch my Yao Yao suffer. Master, it's not what you think, is. That's enough. You don't have to explain this too much. I can handle it myself. In addition, from now on, you don't have to call me master. After a furious rebuke, the old man interrupted Lin Ran without waiting for his words to fall. His nose gave a heavy cold hum. His expression on an old face became indifferent. He stood up from his seat and wanted to go outside the hall as soon as he lifted his crutch. Seeing this scene, Lin Ran and the middle-aged man who had been sitting in the first place all changed their faces. They quickly looked at each other. Immediately after that, when the old man was about to step out of the hall with the girl in red dress, Lin Ran suddenly shouted, "Master, it's not that I don't want to fight, but that guy is also a third-class herbalist, and he seems to be from the Herbalist Alliance. Step on." At the moment when Lin Ran's words fell, the old man was about to step out of the soles of his feet outside the hall. He also had a slight meal in mid-air, and then he was taken back. At the same time, the old man's body suddenly turned, a pair of cloudy old eyes were sharp, and his eyes fell on Lin Ran's body in an instant. "What are you talking about?" The old man's tone was low and his anger rose. At the same time, a dignified meaning also rose with it. "The boy doesn't look very old, but the soul power he has is not comparable to me at all. I've only felt such a powerful soul power in the master, so I can be sure that he is definitely a third-order herbalist. But why do you say he's from the Alliance of Herbalist?" The old man's tone is fierce. "It's okay if he's just a wild man, but if the other party is from the Herbalist Alliance and wants to fight him under the same eaves, it will be a lot of trouble. Master, you should understand that I really can't think of any forces that can be cultivated except the Alliance of Herbalists, who are so young and a third-class herbalist. Even if I'm a member of the Herbalist Alliance, my granddaughter Xu Songming can't be bullied by him." Hearing Lin Ran's words, Xu Songming pondered a little, but a moment later, he snorted bitterly. The crutch in his hand was heavily on the ground again. A pair of cloudy old eyes stared at the void in front of him, and the magnificent breath in his body also surged up. When all this fell into Lin Ran's eyes, the latter sneered in his heart. "Lin Ran, you should know where that guy is." "Oh, master, are you going to find that man now?" Just as Xu Songming's voice fell, the middle-aged man above the main seat suddenly opened his mouth at the moment. Master Lin, you didn't seem to be there at that time. Do you know where the man who hurt my granddaughter is?" Hearing the words of a middle-aged man, Xu Songming is not half afraid. He is just a star-fighting emperor. With his current status, even if he waves his hand at will, there will be strong fighting emperors working for him. Why should he be afraid of the people in front of him? Hearing Xu Songming's words, the middle-aged man was silent immediately. His palm on the armrest swung slightly, his fingers beat rhythmically, and his essence flashed in the depths of his eyes. However, the middle-aged man remained silent all the time. "Master. Rana, don't say any more. Let the master go. You're not the master's apprentice now. Why bother?" Just when Lin Ran couldn't help but just wanted to speak, the middle-aged man sitting on the main seat interrupted it with a word. At the same time, in his eyes when looking at Xu Songming, He also gradually poured into a little fierce color. Lin Zheong. What are you talking about? Yaro is Lin Rant's junior sister. What's meddling? Xu Songming looked cold on his old face, and his powerful breath couldn't help fluctuating. A trace of anger rose in his dark eyes. His granddaughter was bullied, which was the most intolerable thing for him. This guy dared to stop him, which made him unable to restrain his emotions. Master, you have a bad memory. Didn't you just say that from now on, Lin Ran is no longer your apprentice? In that case, why should Lin Ran speak for irrelevant people? What's more, the consequences of doing so are very likely to recruit a big man from the alliance of herbalists to the Lin family. I have to think about my family. Unlike you, just take it with me. Xu Yarou left as if none of this had happened. At that time, it was my Lin family who had to bear the pressure. Lin Zheong put on a smile at the corners of his mouth and didn't feel any dignified because of the breath released by the latter. In the final analysis, he is just an 8-star-and-a-half emperor. In terms of power, Lin Zheong completely crushed the latter. If it weren't for the fact that the old guy was a member of the alliance of herbalists and now he is a third-order herbalist, Lin Zheong wouldn't talk so much nonsense to him. You. Well, I take back my previous words, but Lin Ran, you must tell me immediately where the guy who beat Yaro is now. Hearing Lin Zheong's words, Xu Songming's old face suddenly turned iron blue. He saw Xu Yarou crying in a low voice with a pretty face and grievance. His mood was very gloomy. He bit his teeth with hatred. Then he looked up at Lin Ran and said in a deep voice, Master, why are you in a hurry? You'd better take a night's rest before you arrive at Shencheng today. After you recover your spirit, you can find the guy. Besides, it's late now. There are many strong people in the city. If you disturb them and cause trouble, you'll be in trouble. It's not too late for me to lead you to the guy's residence tomorrow. Before Lin Ran could speak, Lin Zheong took over and said. Hearing the latter's words, Xu Songming couldn't help frowning slightly, but he knew that since the person in front of him had said so, he would never tell him honestly. Although he was dissatisfied, he had to nod helplessly. Seeing this scene, Lin Zheong laughed and said a few polite words. Then he sent his servants to invite Xu Songming's grandparents and grandchildren to the guest room already prepared, while Lin Zheong and his son still stood in the hall. Father, this old man. Shut up. Master Xu, as a third-class medicine refiner, is it something you can abuse as a younger generation? It's really unkind. People are also your master. You actually speak like this. As the young leader of my Lin family, how dare I trust you to give the Lin family to you in the future? Seeing Xu Songming's grandparents and grandchildren leave, Lin Ran just couldn't help shouting insults, but then he was scolded by Lin Zheong. The latter's face was black and blue. The whole person went back to the seat and buried his head like a frightened civet cat. Seeing Lin Ran shut up, Lin Zheong couldn't help humming coldly. His eyes quietly swept in the hall, and the whole person calmed down. At the same time, somewhere outside the hall, Xu Songming, who was walking towards the guest room under the leadership of the Lin family, was mocked at the corners of his mouth. Lin Zheong, you're just a little Lin family. You still want to have a relationship with me. If it weren't for the fire plume flowers at the auction, I wouldn't bother to pay attention to this disciple, Lin Ran. It's just some talent. Without leadership, you'll always be trapped at the level of a first-class herbalist. Xu Songming took back his mind with a sneer in his heart. The crutch in his hand waved forward orderly with his steps. Under the leadership of his former servant, after passing through several corridors, he saw that someone had been waiting here for a long time. There were 2 rooms respectively, which were prepared for his grandparents and grandchildren. At this time, after crying for a long time, Xu Yarou has also restrained her mood, but there is still a look of resentment in her bright eyes. What happened during the day today has brought a great blow to his little princess. The appearance of Xiaoyang mercilessly broke the beautiful dream in her heart, and all the truth had been put in front of her. The girl found that the world originally seemed like a warm spring breeze in his eyes was so cold and piercing. It can be said that Xiaoyang's appearance not only hit her, but also woke her up. However, after being awakened, the girl's eyes not only did not show her due gratitude, but also a kind of resentment and cold like a broken dream. The next day, the dazzling sunshine seems to penetrate people's hearts and shine on this land. The world that has been quiet for a night has become noisy and prosperous again. Life is full of forms and starts again in a new day, like a new reincarnation and a new beginning. Shencheng, with the arrival of this day, the strong forces of all parties in the city move with it. In a city that looks like a sea of people on the surface, this is an undercurrent surging. In the room, When Xiaoyang on the bed opened his eyes again, the look in his eyes became extremely fierce. There was a brilliant flash of fire in the dark pupil. Xiaoyang slowly looked up, his fierce eyes penetrated everything in front of him, and his eyes locked straight into the outer city. On the void, several figures stood proudly. It was Xu Songming and others. Still here. On the bed, Xiaoyang whispered a word in his mouth. Even if he got up, he went outside the door. At this time, several figures stood in the void outside the inn. When this group of people stood in the void outside the inn, they immediately attracted the attention of many people in the city. When they saw that these rare dignitaries would appear together, they couldn't help but show a look of suspicion on the faces of all the people in the city. If something goes wrong, there will be demons, not to mention their bad impression in the hearts of Shencheng. Seeing these people appear at the same time, I think nothing good will happen. Master Lin, are you sure that guy is here? In the void, Xu Songming asked Lin Zheong with a slight frown. It's hard to imagine how the other party would live in such a remote inn if they were really from the alliance of herbalists. It's a little illogical. Don't worry, Master. Although you don't dare to say anything else, if you put it in Shencheng, you can't hide from my Lin family. That guy definitely lives here. Hearing Xu Songming's words, Lin Zheong on his right even arched his hand at the former. At the same time, the words he uttered in his mouth also seemed very respectful. What happened yesterday, it seemed that the patriarch of the Lin family was more respectful to Xu Songming. This scene made Xu Songming laugh in his heart. Creak. Come out. With the creaking sound of the door being opened, an elder of the Lin family behind Lin Zheong couldn't help but remind him. Then, the group looked forward quickly, and the people in the city below also looked suspiciously at the place where the voice came from. I want to see who dares to hurt my granddaughter. Xu Songming gave a low hum, and the palm holding the crutch made a slight effort, and the blood color at the fingertips quickly dispersed. A pair of dark old eyes stared at the door that was about to open. In the depths of their eyes, there was a group of anger flashing continuously. The Herbalist Guild. On the attic, he solemnly frowned and stared at the group of people in the void in the distance. He couldn't help feeling nervous for Xiaoyang. He didn't expect that it was just because of two young people. The elders of the two families would show up for this. It's too much of a fuss. Alas. However, having said that, since the two families have elders, I'm afraid today's matter is a little difficult. Based on his understanding of the two families, if Xiaoyang doesn't bleed much, I'm afraid it's difficult to turn over the matter. Then, when the door was completely opened, a young man in black robes stepped out slowly from behind the door, and the sun shone on the latter's white face. Suddenly, this face was clearly reflected in the eyes of those who were looking at the young people in the city. Wow! At that time, there was an uproar. They never thought that the person who made Lin family leader and Xu Songming, the third-order herbalist, wait here would be such a young man. It's him. Alas, sure enough, I found the door and annoyed the Lin family. This boy is miserable. Although most people in the city are not familiar with the young man in black robe in front of them, for some herbalists, they saw the prestige of the young man in black robe in the Herbalist Guild yesterday. Although they didn't publicize it everywhere in order to avoid trouble when they saw the scene in front of them, but I still couldn't help telling the people around me what happened yesterday. In a short moment, the people in the lower city immediately became boiling. 9 out of 10 people present knew that the Lin family existed like a landlord in Shencheng, and almost no one was willing to conflict with them. It was unexpected that the young master of the Lin family was injured yesterday, which was enough to shock the people in Shencheng. When people in the city talked about what happened yesterday, Xu Songming, who was originally angry and stared at the door, suddenly solidified his face when he saw the young man in black again. He didn't expect to meet him here anyway. His eyes locked on the black-robed youth in front of him. Xu Songming felt extremely dignified in his heart. The look on his old face also changed rapidly. He clenched the palm of his crutch and relaxed unconsciously. How could it be? You again? It was not until a long time later that Xu Songming said this sentence with a trembling voice. At the same time, the wrinkled skin on the old man's face also couldn't help a violent convulsion. In his heart, there were unspeakable waves. Hehe, Master Xu, you're all right. Standing in front of the door, Xiaoyang's hands were behind him, and his face showed a look of light and light clouds. The lineup in front of him may be luxurious in the eyes of others, but in his eyes, it was just like that. Although the other party has a strong man fighting against the emperor, Xiaoyang is already different from the past. Ordinary strong men fighting against the emperor can't hurt him at all. As for Xu Songming, the third-order herbalist in front of him, Xiaoyang won't be afraid. Not to mention the strength, in terms of soul power, After swallowing the condensed soul fruit, Xiaoyang's soul power has been strong to an extremely terrible level. Even if it is not as strong as the soul power of the 4th level herbalist, it can be more than the top. I believe Xiaoyang can be called a 3rd level intermediate herbalist with his soul power. Xu Songming, who has just broken through the 3rd order herbalist, can easily compare it. Why, do you know him? Hearing the stiff dialogue between the two, Lin Zheong couldn't help but frown slightly. From these words, he could hear that the relationship between the two people was not friendly, but in addition, he could also hear that Xu Songming beside him was obviously afraid of the young man in black. This guy is the 3rd order herbalist I met last time in Yangcheng. What, that's him? The old man's eyes closed suddenly and his yellow teeth closed tightly. It was not until a long time later that the old man said in a heavy voice. As Xu Songming's words fell, not only Lin Zheong on his side, but also the latter's son Lin Ran and his granddaughter Xu Yaro showed a look of shock on his face at the moment. Obviously, they also heard about the last thing that happened in Yangcheng, but now they are even more shocked when they see the black-robed youth who defeated Xu Songming with their own eyes. They originally thought that the information they got about that matter would be more or less full of water, but they didn't expect that the black-robed youth mentioned in the rumor would be so young. Woo-woo. What should I do? Can't my granddaughter be bullied by him for nothing? I'm not reconciled. I'm not reconciled. Seeing the heavy look on the grandfather's face, Xu Yaro cried again with a wronged face. Hearing the girl's cry, Xu Songming could not help but frown. His old face looked more and more gloomy. At the same time, his anger climbed up again. Seeing this scene, Lin Zheong frowned in his heart. Unexpectedly, the young man in black would let Xu Songming, who had always been rebellious, be so afraid. What's the origin of this man? Good granddaughter, don't worry. As long as grandpa is there, no one can bully you. After a few breaths, Xu Songming finally raised his head again. His dry palm gently pressed the shoulder of the weeping girl and comforted her. Immediately, his eyes turned. A pair of gloomy eyes looked at Xiaoyang on the opposite pavilion with a fierce color. Boy, today, let's settle the old and new accounts together. The humiliation you brought me last time in Yangcheng and the bullying of my granddaughter yesterday. I'll come back today. At the moment of Xu Songming's cold drink in his mouth, his thin body was shocked on the void, and his mind moved. It belonged to the terrorist momentum of the 8-star and half-emperor strong, so he rushed at Xiaoyang in the opposite direction like an invisible monster. Hum. However, Xiaoyang gave a flat and contemptuous cold hum. In a short time, a magnificent and vast soul pressure swept from the center of Xiaoyang's eyebrows and easily broke the old man's oncoming momentum. What? This is soul power. What a powerful soul power. This guy is also a 3rd order herbalist. At that time, no matter the people in the city or in the void, everyone's face showed an extremely shocked look. I didn't expect that this young black-robed youth would have such a terrible soul power. Hum. The momentum was broken. Xu Songming's expression on his old face could not help but change slightly. A stuffy hum came from his throat. Immediately after that, Xu Songming released his soul power without showing weakness. In the twinkling of an eye, the sky over the huge Shenzhen city was shrouded by 2 powerful soul forces. 2 invisible soul forces stand between heaven and earth like 2 warcraft. Everyone in the city can feel the terrible pressure coming on his head. Everyone's face is pale except for fear. Under this powerful soul pressure, no one can resist except the emperor and the strong. Hum. Boy, today is different from the past. I am also a 3rd-class herbalist. With these people around me, you can't be my opponent. Xu Songming's face was cold and sharp. While his words were spitting out, the soul power released outward became more and more powerful, and Xiaoyang opposite him was also unwilling to show weakness. While Xu Songming's soul pressure increased, Xiaoyang also moved his mind, and another surging soul power poured out to resist the oncoming soul pressure. There has always been a balance between the two. The stronger Xu Songming is, the stronger Xiaoyang is. Anyway, Xiaoyang's soul power will be equal to that of the latter, so that no matter how the latter mobilizes his soul power, Xiaoyang always looks flat from beginning to end. The look on his face has not changed at all. In contrast, Xu Songming, with the continuous consumption of soul power, the look on his face gradually became pale, and a trace of sweat overflowed on his wrinkled forehead. How could? Seeing that Xiaoyang in the attic opposite had no change in his face, Xu Songming couldn't help but sink down. It was clear that his soul power had been released a lot, but why did Xiaoyang opposite have no change in his face? How could it be? Oh, although you and I are both 3rd-class herbalists, It's a pity that my soul power is stronger than you expected. Seeing the shocked look on Xu Songming's old face, Xiaoyang sneered. Then, his eyes suddenly became fierce. At the same time, his mind moved. A more powerful soul force than the latter swept out of Xiaoyang's body like a mountain torrent and tsunami, forming an invisible storm with overwhelming momentum. It was easy to suppress the soul released by Xu Songming. Not only that, the remaining power was even closer to Xu Songming. My friend, this is my Shen Cheng. You don't pay much attention to my Lin family for doing so. Just as Xiaoyang's soul power was about to fall on Xu Songming, the figure beside him suddenly moved and stepped aside quickly to block Xu Songming behind him. At the same time, a strong momentum and pressure swept out from the latter's body and resisted the oncoming soul pressure. Xiao Yanning looked at Xu Songming. The man in front of Xu Songming was Lin Zheong, the owner of the Lin family. Xiaoyang checked some information about the Lin family in the city yesterday. He is worthy of being the largest family in Shenzhen. It's really simple and convenient to check. Any passerby can know about them. Among them, Xiaoyang's most concern is naturally the strongest of the Lin family, the owner of the Lin family, Lin Zheong, who is a Star King. Feeling the domineering smell coming from the latter, Xiaoyang still looked flat and recovered the released soul power. Xiaoyang then hugged Lin Zheong and said, "When I first arrived at your treasure land, I didn't want to cause trouble. Yesterday's incident was unreasonable. I've tolerated it. I hope you can explain to my two families about yesterday." Before Xiaoyang's voice fell, Lin Zheong stared at the former with a fierce face. The words in his mouth sounded quite overbearing. Hearing the speech, Xiaoyang couldn't help frowning slightly. The two families are really birds of a feather in front of him. No wonder they can come together. I don't know what kind of explanation Master Lin wants. Xiaoyang's eyes narrowed slowly, and his voice was still plain. Since you don't want to get into trouble and I don't want to fight with you, I won't embarrass you. As long as you can bend down and apologize to both of them, I'll expose it for you, otherwise. Or what? It seems to be to return Lin Zheong's interruption. Xiaoyang also interrupted the latter's unfinished words. Otherwise, I can only do it myself and make you apologize. Lin Zheong's face was cold, and his empty body was suddenly shocked. A strong fighting spirit and pressure swept across the sky again. This video will end here.